Nothing happened to you, but everything happened for you. And it's really true. And we can all think to an old story of ours, whether it's about job or a relationship or whatever, something that didn't work out the way we wanted to, but that led us to get a better experience, a better job, a better partner, or something like that. But I was very unsatisfied and unhappy, and I knew I was just doing that to fill that gap. But that led me to like a very big amount of dissatisfaction that at some point I decided to just do something for myself, like to take 1 month for myself, to do what I actually wanted to do, and that was learning martial arts. Being there in Thailand as a solo traveler really helped me to meet myself, because in 20 years of my life, I've never met who was Joy, you know? When you're in this phase of confusion, like the old you is leaving, but the new you is not yet here, and you're like just trying to manage that, yeah. I learned to love those phases where you're so confused and you don't really know where you're going, because it's the confirmation that you're going somewhere new. So you're getting to the next step, whatever the next step is. So it's actually great, and you should enjoy that a lot. So I'm the one responsible for everything regarding the food. So I have to be responsible, because I have to do planning, I have to do, you know, when you order the food and everything. So you need to plan for a week, knowing that then you will be on the ocean.
You said you listen to your emotions. Your emotions are always right. Joy, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Life isn't to be endured, it is meant to be danced with. That's something you've wrote. How would you explain that to someone that is struggling today in life?
It's a really good question. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is beautiful, but now life is full of struggles. Like we're all struggling, and we'll keep struggling for a long time, or just our whole life. I think the only things that you can do to change that, it's just a question of perspective on how you decide to look at this specific struggle. Because you can look at a struggle and blame yourself and blame people and blame everything around you and believe that it's happening to you and, you know, play the victim. Or you can decide to look at it through the lens of opportunities and growth, and see that that struggle is actually a good opportunity for you to grow and to be the person you want to be, or to just get what you want to have. Because one thing that we forget is that all of the struggle we have, it's everything we've been asking for. Most of the time, not consciously. But when you ask for peace, go for it.
What do you mean by you always ask for it?
When you ask, let's say, for success, okay, you want to have success in your life. Life is not going to bring you success on a silver plate like that. It's going to bring you opportunities that you have to take, sacrifices you have to make, you know, a lot of things, challenges that you have to go through to get there. You can't get things like that. You need to work to get things. So when you ask for something, most of the time, it's not what you're going to get at first, but it's the opportunity to get that things that you're going to have. We struggle because we don't actually really know ourselves. And what we do is most of the things that we believe, you know, for so long that are good for us. So whether it's because of your education, because of society, your parents, your friends, your teachers, they teach you that these things is good for you, that success is defined that way, happiness is defined that way. So you grow up with that, and you do that, and you try to get the thing you want, but it doesn't work, and you struggle to get the things you want. Because actually, success for you or happiness for you might be something different than what you've believed your whole life, that it was that. So getting to know yourself, getting to understand yourself, and get your own definitions of happiness, success, and everything gets you where you want to be, because now you know what you want and you know what to ask for. And therefore, you see the struggle as an opportunity to grow, and you get excited about a struggle because you know that when you struggle, then it's an opportunity for you to get there.
So you think the suffering and the struggle is automatically part of the journey?
100%. But once again, it's the perspective you have on it. You can blame it, or you can just be excited about. Then I believe that struggle and suffering are two different things. Suffering is more because we cling onto things. We have these specific ideas of a specific outcome or specific things that we want in life. And when we don't get that specific things, then we get disappointed and we suffer. So when you just know what you want and you don't care much about the outcome on how it's going to be manifested or materialized, but you just take actions to get that thing, you'll get it.
I think this is your philosophy today. It probably hasn't been always the case. If I go back to the beginning, you started with an apprenticeship as a cook in Switzerland as a chef. And then you did EHL. And what I found very interesting is you seem at the beginning to have always followed the traditional path. You did your internship at Philip Morris. You did some certification in school about the STR to really go into this hotel way, it seems to, at least. How did success look like when you were back in your apprenticeship or even in EHL at the beginning, before you have this philosophy today?
Yeah. Well, success to me was having a good career, having a lot of money, eventually getting a family at some point, a car and a dog.
So a good career, you mean in hotel?
For me, it was that, yeah. For me, it was that. I've always thought I would get my own hotel chain at some point. And it's still a desire that I have, a dream that I have. But that was only that. And even before starting EHL, my only definition of success was going to EHL and graduate from EHL. And then I had no clue. But that was the point. That was the success. And I thought, because when you get to EHL, people tell you, companies, come to EHL and pick you. Like, they want you after EHL. Like, you have such a beautiful degree that people come and pick you. So I thought that if I do EHL, I'll be fine my whole life and I won't have to do anything else, kind of. So that was my definition of success. And I thought that by just, having a successful career, so having a lot of hotels in my case, and therefore maybe a lot of money, then I will be happy. And that's it. That was that.
Did it happen that people came to you directly to seek for you after EHL, or?
Not really that way. I got lucky because I met people during some events that wanted me in the company, but because they saw me working and they met me and they get to know me. So not for my degree.
And after EHL, you followed this path. You did a data analyst. You were a sales representative at Nespresso.
Yes.
So that's quite the traditional path, right?
Yeah. Yes and no, I'd say, because I went from a chef to a sales representative to a data analyst to a chef again. Well, I was working as a sales representative during my whole studies for EHL to be able to pay EHL. So that job I had it just to do something aside from EHL. And the data analyst job I had was just to fill some gap in my career, because at some point I didn't know what to do, or I didn't get the job I wanted and I didn't want to do nothing. So I did that. So it was more like a security for me, financial security, and to just have something in my CV, and not a blank or a gap of like a year doing nothing.
But after EHL, you wanted to go work in a hotel chain, or that was the goal? Or?
I wanted to, no. I wanted to be a facility manager at that time. And I did apply for some programs, because it's not something you can do straight after EHL. You need like another kind of background. So the best way to go into facility management was to do a program in a company of 3 years, and then you become eventually a facility manager. So that was my plan. And everything was planned perfectly in London. I was that close to have the contract. They wanted me, apparently, but all of a sudden I had no news for a few weeks. And then they told me like, okay, Joy, we picked someone else. And then graduation arrived. So I'm like, great, now I have nothing.
Oh, Lord.
So that took me away from facility management, because if I wanted to go there, I had to do another program of 3 years, but I had to wait next year. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I went for the data analyst to have something to feed that time and to give me time to actually discover and learn what I wanted to do.
Yes. So if I understand correctly, you were about to graduate. You had this probably dream as a perfect career.
Yeah.
And then you get the no. How does it feel?
Oh, wow, it's horrible. It's a big struggle. Especially when people makes you feel like they really want you in the company. And we probably all had that when we were looking for internship in Bosque 3. You receive a lot of no or no answers. So it feels like it makes you question your life, sometimes your worth, like, oh, am I good enough? Do I have the skills it requires? Can I actually achieve that dream? So a lot of questions. And in my case, I just got lost, because I had no idea what to do then, because I had a plan, and then all of a sudden you don't have any plans. You're like, well, what's now?
You bet all on this?
Yeah. That's something I do. Usually I go for everything or nothing. I don't like plan B. It has to be plan A.
But then when it doesn't work, it's really a struggle, like you said.
Yeah.
And in this moment, how would you say you cope with dancing part of life. Did you manage that, or it was hard to see this philosophy? Because you explained the theory beautifully before, but I know that when you can most of the time you can explain a philosophy, but then when you're in the struggle, it's so hard to be in your head because you're in your heart and you're suffering, right?
Yeah, you're so right. So at that time, no, because I didn't even know that philosophy. So I was just struggling. But if I could go back now and give myself advice, I would say, first of all, I think I told you that sentence, but nothing happened to you, but everything happened for you. And it's really true. And we can all think to an old story of ours, whether it's about job or a relationship or whatever, something that didn't work out the way we wanted to, but that led us to get a better experience, a better job, a better partner, or something like that. So at that time, if I had to go back now, I would just be way more relaxed and have more faith in life and know that if it didn't happen, it's for a reason. And I might not understand it now, and that's fine, but I will later. Because I know that it's guiding me towards something that's more aligned for me and for what I want and what I've been asking for. And I'm so happy I didn't go into that industry because I wanted to do facility management because I thought that would lead me to be able to be a hotel manager at some point. That was the path. I liked it, but I didn't get that spark for facility management as I thought. Like I wanted to, but I didn't get it. So I just wasn't listening to myself and I was doing what I thought was good, but not what I wanted to do actually.
It's very interesting. I found you said that it's never a rejection, it's a redirection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how that no redirected you? In which way did it redirected you?
In the most unexpected way for me, because I ended up being in Thailand learning Kung Fu. So pretty,
So you would say because you had this no and you didn't know what to do, you went to Thailand?
Sort of. So I had this no. I went to data analyst just to, as I say, just to feed my time and gain some money. But I was very unsatisfied and unhappy. And I knew I was just doing that to fill that gap. But that led me to a very big amount of dissatisfaction that at some point I decided to just do something for myself, like to take 1 month for myself to do what I actually wanted to do. And that was learning martial arts. And I ended up being in Thailand learning martial arts. And being there in Thailand as a solo traveler really helped me to meet myself. Because in 20 years of my life, I've never met who was Joy, I didn't know what Joy liked or what Joy wanted to do. Because I had all of those ideas that have been planted in my head by society, as I said, education and so on. So spending time with myself taught me how to listen to myself and how to actually just learn about myself and what I want to do. So that redirected me in the best possible way because when I came back to Switzerland, I knew who I was and what I wanted to do.
How long did you stay in Thailand?
It was supposed to be a month and I ended up being there 7 months.
7 months?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that was the element that changed your life or that you discovered really yourself? How do you discover yourself?
You have to just be with yourself. And you have to go through a lot of challenges and you need to get out of that box in which you grew. So if you grew up in Switzerland, get out of Switzerland, go somewhere else, leave your family and your friends just for a moment, just to be outside of all of those things that conditioned you to be the way you are, just to see. And maybe you're going to realize that actually this box is the perfect one for you and you like it. Or you're going to see that there is no boxes and that you can actually expand and be whatever you want and do whatever you want. So whatever is the result, at least you have a confirmation and you know yourself. You know what you want.
Kung Fu, you spoke about Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Did that really help you to discover yourself? Or
it actually did.
Yeah?
Yeah, Kung Fu is not really about fighting. It's a lot about energy in a sense of knowing your body, controlling your body, your breathing, your mind a lot. So you do meditate a lot. You do a lot of very slow movement to control everything within you. So you spend a lot of time within yourself, analyzing yourself and controlling yourself. That is a practice, let's just call it like meditation itself, is a practice that makes you more aware of who you are, of your thoughts, of the patterns you have, of your skills, the flows that you might have, things you want to work through. So yeah, 100%.
Do you have an example of a belief that you had before Thailand and then you completely changed that? And
I used to believe that I wasn't good enough. I think that's the best example, because I think a lot of people do not really like themselves. So I used to believe that I wasn't good enough for a job, for a relationship, whatsoever, like in general. So then I went to Thailand, spent time with myself, like you spend time with a friend, you spend it with yourself. And you start to appreciate yourself and to like this thing about yourself, to dislike this thing about yourself, and to become the person you actually want to be. And then you start to love yourself and to realize that, oh, actually, no, I deserve the world. And we all do, but start with yourself and self-love.
would you be able to say where does it come from, the fact that we don't like ourselves? Because like you said, a lot of people do not.
Yeah.
I could identify with that. Did it help you to understand where does this come from?
Yeah. What I see is that it's because we don't know ourselves. If you haven't got the chance to experience who you truly are, then you just don't know yourself and you keep doing things that are not aligned with who you are. And therefore, you never find a full satisfaction in doing things in life because it's not fully authentic. And I think it's because we're not really authentic that we cannot love ourselves fully.
And you would believe that it's because we are in this society and we have always something to do, we have always the next step, and we don't have this time. But I could really relate. In Asia, there is this different notion, I would say, of time, and at least in those countries, Thailand, and you think that's why we forget who we are, or we never get to know really who we are, because we are like just caught up in this society that you need actually to get to the next step every time.
I think it starts there, yeah, because especially if you grow up in Switzerland, like you're always in a rush to do something. You always have to do something and go to school, get good grades, and then do your homework, and then do this and this and this and this. So since a very young age, you don't really spend time with yourself, or just to just live without any expectations, without any goals or any things to achieve. So I think we lose ourselves at a very young age because we're always doing something, and we have the expectation of our parents or of our friends, teachers and stuff. So yeah, I think you're right. It started there at least.
How did your parents reacted when you say I'm going to Thailand? And
I'm lucky. I have great parents that have always been supportive. They did ask me like, but you did EHL, so shouldn't you be working in a hotel right now or in a bank or somewhere? But they know that maybe I gave them a tough time when I was younger, but they know that I usually do what I want to do. And they know that I'm responsible. So they supported me. They asked questions, but they supported me. And that's the funny thing. When you do something that is so out of what you're supposed to do, and that feels a bit scary, because obviously telling your friends and your parents, hey, I have a great diploma, a great degree, but I'm just going to live like a hippie in Thailand. Obviously, they might be like, and you have the fear of the judgment and everything. But when I did it, all of the answer I got from my friends, my family were positive. Like, go for it, Joy. Take the time you need. Get something out of this. Like, go for it. So sometimes you're afraid of something, and as I say, detach from the outcome, because you never know what the outcome is going to be.
If you don't mind, I just want to challenge a bit, because I have this idea that some people after EHL, after graduating or after finishing the studies, they just go around the world discovering. And I would have this image of some people, they go to Bali, for example, and then they end up partying and being in the social media sphere, or, I think not really into what you did. What would be your plan to travel how you did to discover yourself, but not being caught up in the, partying and just losing time because you didn't go for the right reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But as you said, it depends on the reason. Why are you living? If you leave just for having a gap year and having fun, then yes, you might be losing time in a sense, because you're going to end up in Bali and party and take drugs and whatever. But if you live with a purpose, then it changes everything. My purpose was just to live for 1 month learning Kung Fu. So I wasn't going to Thailand just to enjoy Thailand and see, what I can get there. It was to learn Kung Fu. So I already had a goal. Even though it was nothing related to my career or my personal development, I had like a mission there, learning Kung Fu.
Okay, so let's get practical. you planned your trip 1 month. You were registered in a gym for kung fu. Okay, so that was the initial plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then while I was doing kung fu, I met people, I met the life in Thailand and everything, and I decided to stay because of that. So the initial idea, like, don't live just to go for party and see how's life there and see how it's going to happen. Like, have a purpose, like a goal, even though it's not related to anything in your life. Like, go to discover the culture, go to, to discover something, to learn something.
Okay, have a plan. You
Plan.
go, you learn a martial art. There is many martial art in Thailand.
Yeah.
In one of the posts about your trip in Thailand, you said that you met the most inspiring people. How does that translate?
I met people that were free of any type of conditioning and who were just living and being happy. Doesn't mean they were doing nothing in their life. Quite the opposite, actually. They were very successful, but they didn't feel any stress, any pressure, anything like that. They were just free because they learned through their own experiences that life is much more than just struggling and getting paid and wake up in the morning and go work and go back home and that every single day. And they managed to sort out their life in a sense, but in their own authentic way. They were all doing all sort of things, but they were successful in their own way and they were happy.
You have an example in mind of someone like that?
Yeah. Someone I met was an old man who invested a lot of his money into properties in the US, and that was his business. So he was able to travel and be happy, but obviously he also had a lot of struggle because he still had to manage his own business, right? But from Thailand. But on the side, he was doing stuff like teaching music to kids, or he was doing tea ceremonies or stuff like that, like random stuff that made him happy. And he was able to do so and to not worry too much about what was happening in the rest of the world because he was living in his own life and be happy. Yeah, just being so authentic, so himself. He had like this two sides of his personality where he was a businessman, but this is just a costume. His real self was being in Thailand, teaching music to kids and enjoying life, going in nature and do whatever he was doing. And I was like, wow, this is, you won't see that in Switzerland, You won't see people that are so relaxed and happy and still going through the same stuff that we're going and still investing money and still having to be aware of things. That was like a big mind opening for me to see how people can actually be happy and doing the same thing we're doing.
How did you manage to stay in 7 months in Thailand? Did you find a job?
No, through investment I made. Well, obviously everything is way cheaper there. But it was at a time where crypto was going up. So I was able to use some of my investment to, pay my rent and stuff like that. And yeah, just that.
You think we said Thailand was the moment you changed the most probably in your life?
Yeah.
How do you feel the change? In the sense of, I think when you are in the change, you don't really feel it. I have the feeling that it's more afterwards when you look back that you say, I really changed with this period. How would you reconcile the fact of currently changing and you don't really understand probably where you go? You don't really understand what's happening to you because in a way it's a transformation.
Yeah.
How do you live this moment where you're a bit separated between the next you and the old you?
Yeah.
Does it speak to you?
Yeah, it does. When you're in this phase of confusion, like the old you is leaving, but the new you is not yet here, and you're like just trying to manage that. Yeah, speak to me a lot, and I love those phases. I learned to love those phases where you're so confused and you don't really know where you're going, because it's the confirmation that you're going somewhere new. So you're getting to the next step, whatever the next step is. So it's actually great, and you should enjoy that a lot because you know that something is changing. But as well, to get to that change, you have to change things about yourself, whether it's the way you respond, the way you make decisions, but if you want a different outcome, you need to make something different. You need to change. So by forcing you to change and be so confused for a small time, then you'll get where you want to be. But it all starts with, first like a thought, then you transform that thought into an action that becomes eventually like consistency and a habit, and then it becomes you. But it needs time. It cannot happen like that in a day. So be gentle with yourself when you're in those phases of confusion. It's the most important things I can say.
And trust that there is something new at the end that will be worth it.
Always. I think one of the words that I keep in my mind always is certainty. To always be so convinced and to know for a fact that something good, either specific or not, but something good is going to happen to you, is waiting for you. Because when you're so certain about it, when you vibrate that kind of energy, then you're aligned to that. So there's no way you can get something lower than that. You're going to get that anyway. But you need to truly feel it. You cannot just talk about it and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to attract this and this and this. You need to feel it, because you don't get what you want. You get what you believe you can have. So if you believe you can have whatever you want, a job, salary, whatever, if you truly believe within yourself, so I'm talking really about your body, like you feel it, you feel that version of yourself, then you're going to get it. If you don't, then you're just not going to get it, even if you want it. So it's all a lot of inner work you have to do.
Yes.
Retrospection, introspection.
So you would say that if you have a wish, you not only need to think about it, but embody it.
Exactly, 100%.
How do you process that? How do you do that practically? In practice?
Yeah, you work. I can give you an example with that. I have my own business about human design, which is like a self-development tool. When I started it, I used to do it for free. And then I started asking for donation. And then I was like, okay, I'm becoming good at what I'm doing, so I want to be paid for that. I want to charge people for that. But I didn't feel confident at all charging the prices that was on the market. Like usually a reading about human design is something like $500. And I didn't feel confident at all asking for that money, even though I was probably doing the same job, maybe even better, who knows. But I just couldn't, because I didn't believe I can handle that much money, or I can handle the pressure of asking someone, hey, you owe me that much money for my services.
But do you think it's worth the $500?
Yes, in a sense of you pay it once, but it's a tool that you keep your whole life and that can really improve your life. So if you see it that way, 100%, it's actually cheap.
Okay, the ROI is huge.
Yeah, exactly. But then I also want it to be more accessible for people. So, but anyway, the point is, for me to ask more money was like, I didn't believe in it, even though I wanted it. I didn't believe I could have that money. And when I tried, didn't get any clients. So I started to like go up with my prices step by step, like asking 20 euros, 25, 30, 35, to gain confidence slowly and slowly and slowly. But in practice, what you have to do is to just sit with yourself and see what's happening within you when you feel like you're asking for too much money or not enough. And convince yourself that you can. So once again, we go back to knowing yourself, knowing your worth, your skills, to feel confident and to have a lot of self-esteem and self-worth. But I'm not talking about the ego, just knowing yourself that you can have that value because you offered that value to people. But if you don't believe that your value is worth that amount of money, then you're not going to get it.
Okay, but I found very interesting that you had this wish, but you split it in different smaller steps.
Yeah.
And that's how you can really embody it, because smaller steps you can easier embody it, and then you can scale it and then reach the wish that you had at the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
That's very interesting.
And it's small victories as well. You know, the small victories give you confidence. So I'd rather have thousands of tiny victories and eventually big success one day than a lot of failure and then a big success eventually, you know? Okay. You need that confidence to boost your own confidence. And it's like small rewards, you know, little treats.
You just spoke about confidence and ego. How do you distinguish the two of them?
The ego doesn't serve you. Confidence does. So being confident for me, the way I see it is knowing your skill and your value, you know, knowing your topics, knowing what you have to share and what you can bring. It becomes the ego when you believe that you are better, or you want to be above, or you want to just put someone down or something down to impose your opinions, your ideas, your value, or whatever. So the ego is a good tool you can use, I guess, to navigate life. But it shouldn't be on the way of your own path, because I don't think it serves you. It brings you down, actually. It's a hard question you're asking me right now.
I think you get very much to the point. How would you be able to say how it gets you down?
Have you ever done anything based on egos that was successful for you?
I think when I do something by ego, let's say it's not necessarily because I can do it that I have to do it or that I should do it. And I think if you, I mean, I really try because most of the things I do is by ego anyway. But I start to see now that it's not because I can do something that I have to do it, and it's the thing I should do. Because, as you said, it's not my path, it's not my journey. So if you make it from a place of confidence, I think you can really, we get back to everything you said, but you can really distinguish what you should do, what is for you to be done, and what you could do, but it's not for you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't lose yourself doing many things, even if you can succeed many things. You shouldn't really lose yourself in all of that. You should focus on yourself and doing what you think is important for you.
Yeah. To come back to what you've just said, I think confidence is more about doing things for yourself that you know you can do, but ego might be, you might do things out of ego just to show up, to prove others that you're worthy enough or whatever.
And without yourself as well.
Yeah, right.
And that's the trick. That's the trap.
You're right. Don't fall for the trick of the ego.
Human design, you discovered that in Thailand?
Yeah.
How does it work? How would it help me and others?
It helps you to understand who you are from the very beginning before you started learning things in this life and getting conditioned because of this life. So it's basically going back to your essence of who you are, what kind of person you are in the sense of how do you function. Like an example could be, do you function better when you initiate things or when you respond to things? How do you attract things to you, like opportunities and stuff? How do you respond to those kind of opportunities? How do you know if something is good for you or not? Do you work better in an environment that is consistent, or it's better for you to have change and new things all of the time? Because we're all different, right? So even if we function in a very similar way, maybe, even if we do the same thing, we're still going to end up different places. Even if we do the same choices, same thing. So because we're all different, we also function all in a different way. So it's getting to understand how you function to just get really aligned in your life and what you want to have.
So you're believing that our inner difference come from before society, before we were even born? Do you think it's a
part of it? I think you get born. You are born in this world with your own inner gifts, talents, and skills, and of course, through life, you develop many others. But I do believe that your uniqueness is there since you're a baby. Like it's you.
So you think that everyone is born with a gift from...
100%. More than one, I believe. You know, maybe you're good at... You've always felt very confident, like talking in front of cameras or in front of a crowd. For some other people, it's hard. And eventually they learn how to do it. And now they're very comfortable, maybe even more than you. But they didn't have that since the very beginning, but you had it. So we all have different... I'd say we all have the whole panel of skills, but different percentage of those skills, you know, and you can increase them through life experiences. But from the very beginning, you have skills that some others have not. That's what makes you different.
Okay.
Makes you different.
And human design is about finding those gifts and working on them and capitalizing on them.
Yeah, if you want to. It's really, I see it as an invitation for you to live your life in a way that is way more aligned to you. It's an invitation to try, to not make any decisions, impactful decisions with your mind, but with what makes you. It can be, depending on your design, can be your emotions, can be your gut feeling instinct. It all depends. But the thing is, most of the time we're using our mind to make decisions, right? Oh, this is a good job because it has a good pay. It's close to my house. It's da-da-da, whatever. But our mind cannot know what's good for us. We use it to calculate things, to predict, to anticipate eventually based on what we've experienced and what we heard and everything. But it cannot know the future, right? But I do strongly believe that your body, something within you, your inner voice, whatsoever, knows what's good for you. But most of the time it's going to be the opposite of what your mind tells you. So we never really listen to it. And we use our mind and we end up in a situation that maybe wasn't the best. So it's going back to you, just going back to you and to your own authenticity.
Would you say it's a tool to find your purpose? It can be used for that?
Yeah. In a sense, it doesn't give you your purpose. It's not I don't know astrology, so I don't want to talk about it, but it's not something like that that tells you like, oh, you're going to be a teacher in 5 years, or you're going to meet the love of your life, or it's nothing like that. But once again, just by going back to who you are and your own authenticity, then you find yourself. And by finding yourself, you attract things that are meant to you. So you can say you attract your purpose to you, yeah.
But the authentic purpose.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That is different from if you grow up in a society and it gives you purpose.
Exactly.
By default.
And that's what I use in my life since Thailand. And that's why my life has been a bit like that. Since then, I'm really, like, I've never felt so happy and satisfied with my life and my choices. Because I know that they come from me and not from any outside conditioning.
And currently your purpose is private chef on a 30-meter yacht.
Yeah.
Explain me that.
Well, to be honest, I think it just at some point popped into my mind. Because I met through EHL, through working with one of the teachers at EHL for an extra in a private house. I met a chef who was a chef of this very rich family. And I knew that this chef during summer used to go work on the yacht of that family. So it's the first time I heard about being a chef on a yacht. And it stayed in my head for a long time. And then arrived a time where I thought of it and I kept hearing about it. That person will talk about their cousin being a chef on a yacht. It just popped again and again and again. And I use human design. This is something I used a lot. To me, it's like if something comes again and again and again in my life, it's something I have to analyze and to check then within myself. And for my case, it's mainly about my emotions. So see, how do I feel? How would I feel if I become a chef on a yacht? And I felt so good, like so happy and excited. So I was like, let's go for it. So at that time I was in South Africa. I was living in South Africa. So I took all of my courses there because you need to take courses to be able to be a seafarer, like to work on a boat. Took my courses, applied for a job, get a job, went on a boat.
Wow. You said you listen to your emotions. Do you think your emotions are always right? Because I found it very interesting. Sometimes you have some invitation from the universe or whatever. You have those invitations. You keep saying the same things and then it gets you an emotion. Do you think it's always right? It's always the thing to follow?
No. That's why human design is a great tool because it depends for who. For me, it is, but it's not like the emotion I'm feeling right now. You know, emotions goes like waves. Like sometimes you're super happy and then you're down, but whenever you're down, you're going to go up again. You just don't know if it's going to be in an hour or in 2 days. So by just letting those waves of emotion pass and gain more clarity and then still check on your emotions, like what do I feel now that the waves have passed? That's for me, give me the answer. And now I always go for that and I always end up at the right place, get the right thing that I've been asking for and it never goes wrong. So I'd say sometimes, not for everyone, but not, well, it depends. For some people to be impulsive is a good thing, apparently. So it really depends on you and who you are.
What do you mean? For you?
No, for some people, you know, when the first emotion they feel and they act on it, it can be a good thing. It can be their own way of functioning. For me, it isn't the case. I need to wait. And I learned that through experiences. I need to wait and to take my time before making a big decision. But for some people, the more reactive they are, the better it is for them.
And that's what human design help you to
that's one of the
differentiate. What's a normal day on a yacht as a private chef?
There is no normal day. There is really no normal day because everything changes constantly. So I'd say and the most normal day you can get when you have guests on board is you wake up, you spend your whole day in your galley. The kitchen on the boat is called a galley. So you spend the whole day in the galley cooking the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, and everything in between, snacks they want, cheese board, whatever. And whenever they are done, then you are done and you get some rest and you wake up the day after and you do the same thing again and again and again. But there is no typical day because you never know. You're cooking something and then 1 hour before lunch, they're going to tell you, oh, we actually would like to eat Indian today. So buy the meal you planned and find a way to create an Indian dish in 1 hour. Or you create a whole menu and last minute they tell you, actually, we're going to eat outside tonight. So, well, good for you. You have more food for yourself and you have some rest. But, you know, you really have to adapt. It changes so fast, so quick.
There is no set moment. You're always in the unknown, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you cope with is it stressful to always be, you can never plan anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be stressed.
Yeah. There was some times where I was stressed, but because I've been a chef before, I went through that already. So I learned how to manage my stress. So it was quite okay for me. And I eventually at some point, you just let go of any expectations you have, because you have expectations. You expect your guests to eat what you did, to like what you did. But when they don't even try it, then it sucks. So you need to let go of this expectation and just go with the flow. Just go with the flow and accept what is as it is. Remember that you work for the guests. So what matters for you is that they're happy and that they're having a good time. If that makes you unhappy because they're not eating what you made, that's okay. You just want the guest to be happy.
And you would say that it's not because the guest doesn't eat what you did that he's not happy? In the sense of like, it's not necessarily because the guest didn't eat what you did that he's unhappy with what you did.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
Right? Okay.
But most of the time it's just because they decide to go outside last minute.
Okay, so it's nothing against you. It's just
it's just
circumstances.
their holidays, so they do what they want.
What's the most crazy request you had during your summer season?
Oh, that's a good question. I had pretty chill guests, to be honest. So nothing that crazy. I just remembered that because for me that was the most stressful one. But they usually like to have intercontinental breakfast, so like a buffet with meat and cheese and stuff like that. So I would do that every morning and prep the night before and everything. So everything is ready and it's a group of 9 people. And all of a sudden, the stew just came in a galley with a list of like 2 eggs Benedict, 1 omelette with ham and cheese and onions, 1 scrambled egg, 1 avocado toast. And I'm the only chef on board and they want it now. So just eggs Benedict, like I have to boil the water to poach the eggs, to, do everything. Like, how am I going to do that alone for like 9 people now? And that is the kind of request you get all of the time where they don't know what's going on behind the work. So they don't realize that what they're asking is technically not possible to have that thing now. You still have to find a way. You have no excuses on boats. Like, you have to find a way to make it happen. So you need to be resourceful and pray a lot.
Does it make you super responsible?
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're a sole chef, as I was. So I'm the only one in my department. So I'm the one responsible for everything regarding the food. So I have to be responsible because I have to do planning. I have to do, when you order the food and everything. So you need to plan for a week, knowing that then you will be on the ocean. So you won't get the chance to go back on shore and quickly go to the supermarket and buy a salad or whatever. Like, you need to plan in advance. And you have a menu, but you also know that they're going to ask for specific things that you have no idea what it's going to be. So you have to plan more and to just then be creative and adapt with what you have according to what they want and be responsible for that. Yeah.
So match the 2 expectations and resource. You need to match the 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
You need to anticipate as well. How do you anticipate
Yeah.
the needs of demanding guests?
Yeah. Sometimes you get what we call the guest preference shit. So you kind of know a few things about the people. Like, they don't like spicy food. They like this and this and this. But it changes every year. So you cannot really like believe what you're reading, but it gives you direction. And then you need to just be good at what you do, in a sense of be able to, with the same ingredients, do 5 different dishes if they want to. So just adapt and be creative.
How would you say it's different from you worked both in the restaurants, you did normal restaurants, you did fine dining restaurants, and now on a yacht. How would you say it's changed as an experience, as a work?
Yeah. So you're responsible for everything, first of all. You don't have, if you're a sole chef, you don't have anyone to help you. So it's all on you. So that's a big thing, because usually in kitchens, you have the chef who takes care of ordering the food and stuff. And then, you all have your own specificities, but they're on a boat, you're all alone. So you have to do everything. And you don't get any shifts. Like, you cannot say, oh, I'm working from 8 to 3 and then I take a break. And once again, you have to adapt to what they want. So if you get a break, thanks God. But if you don't, you don't.
Well, let's say even if you're on break, you will be called.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's not like in a restaurant that you can tell the guest, like, yeah, she's coming back in 20 minutes. Just wait and have a coffee or something. No, it's like, Joy, just go to the galley and cook them whatever they want. And then you're on a boat. So it's smaller. the storage place you have is way smaller as well. And eventually, if you're navigating, then the boat moves. So you most likely going to get seasick, and you still have to deal with seasickness and cooking for the guest, which is a nightmare. But you have to go through it. Yeah, it's very different than a proper kitchen on land. It's a whole other experience. Yeah, it's just another experience.
If I'm a cook, if I'm a chef, and I'm interested to do such an experience, what would you say I would need from the beginning to have before embarking on that?
You mean before getting a job, or before getting ready to?
Yeah,
work
to
on
actually
it?
do the thing. What skills would I need to have as a chef, as a cook here,
Yeah.
working in my normal job,
Yeah.
to say that might be for me.
Yeah. So know how to manage your stress, be adaptable, and creative. That I'd say is the main one, and don't take things personally as well. Because on a boat, it's so small, whether it's with your colleagues or the guests. If you start to take everything personally, then you're going to end up crying in your galley, and eventually the guest's going to see you, and that looks bad. Because there's a lot of stress and pressure, not only on you, but on the captain, the stew, and the deckhand. So you just need to make a separation between your job and who you are and the other people and your friends, and just be fully into, okay, I'm working now. So I'm not Joy, I'm the chef. And that helped me a lot. Because it's easy when you hear like a little comment about whether the food or the service or something, or one of your colleagues saying something, and just take it personally, and then you're unhappy and you have to present the food in front of the guest, but it's hard for you to smile, or, So make the difference between the profession and the rest of your life, your normal life.
Separate your identities.
Exactly. Yeah. Still be you, but don't take things too personally, especially on boats.
And the living together?
Well, that is just it requires social skills, I guess. Because yes, when you're on boat, you're living. You're going to share a cabin with someone, so you're going to live 6 months with someone, sleep next to that person, and work with that person. So that just requires social skills, and just be polite, be kind, a lot of compassion as well, to understand that the other one is living the same thing than you. It's not easy, so be supportive. And you'll get through it. You always get up and downs, people fighting or people arguing. But if you can just talk with that person and just remember that person and yourself, that, okay, this is what's happening. We're working on a boat. It's stressful. We have a lot of things to do. We're tired, whatsoever. But we like each other and we support each other, and we're going to get through that. Then it works.
That's very interesting. I really love this idea of separated identities. And would you agree that you can apply that to, in your case, it's very extreme, but I think it's a very good tip in general in life, in group projects, in work.
Yeah.
Because do you think you need to be yourself, or you need to separate the identities? We always hear be yourself, and you be authentic, and you said it, be authentic. And would you think there is this way that you have to separate yourself from who you are at home when you are at work? Would you say there is still this happening?
I'd say that I will keep saying be authentic and be yourself, even at work when you're like the professional version of yourself. But
so how are you authentic in yourself, and in the same times you're working on this boat, you have your colleague that is so close to you, there's the fighting, there's the arguing. How do you reconcile the two of them?
I just detach my emotions from the work. So I'm still Joy, doing the same thing, doing the same jokes, being me, smiling, whatever. But my emotions have like a cage around to not get involved when I'm working. Because I know for myself, this is my emotions that get me to be sad, angry, or whatever, So by just creating a distance between what I'm feeling and what I'm doing or experiencing, that's enough. But still be yourself. Don't put a mask on, I'm the chef, and therefore the chef has to be like that. Like, no, stay Joy. Joy is the chef. And I think it's important for each one of us, because when you do your work, you want to do it as yourself. You don't want to fake being someone your whole life.
So you would say that it's emotions that make things complicate in relationships?
It's part of it. I think there's way more like communication skills, comprehension, and a lot of things. But emotion definitely is the thing that triggers us. So it's important to just not attach yourself to an emotion that you're feeling and to just let it pass. Because if you nourish that emotions, and mainly bad emotions, then that emotion stay within you and it becomes a mood. And then you're moody and you're depressed and you're angry and you're sad and whatever. So we all feel emotions and we're all going to feel emotion our whole life, every second. But if we learn to just let them pass, the anger, the sadness, the thing, whatever, frustration, then it's good. It's gone and done. To not nourish the emotions is a good thing.
That's very interesting. Emotions becomes mood.
Yeah, it does. It's a scientific thing. I don't have the name of whoever say that, but I know that I read it. Apparently, emotion stays within you only 1.5 seconds. This is the only time they need to go through you. But the fact that we keep them and we nourish them with thoughts of, oh, I'm angry because that person didn't do that or da-da-da, whatever. We nourish that emotions, then it stays. And the more it stays, the more it becomes who we are. And just nourish the good emotions, nourish the good one.
How do you get good at that? First, let's say, because when you don't know this, you would not even be able to recognize your emotions, or you would just let them drive you because you don't recognize them.
Yeah.
How do you start by, what's the first step to say, okay, I need to recognize my emotions? Because again, we said it, but when you're on the moment, it's so hard to catch your emotions, to say, I'm feeling that, and what do I do with that?
You need to be aware. So you need to train your awareness of yourself and what you're feeling. And we go back to meditation, as I said before. That was Kung Fu for me, but the only reason why people meditate is to be more aware of what's happening in their head and their thoughts. It's not to find peace and enlightenment or whatever. The true purpose of meditation is just to be aware. And the more aware you are about yourself, then the more you can actually see things for what they are and see that, okay, I'm feeling so angry right now, but it's just like a temporary thing. It's an emotion that's passing by because that happened and that triggers within me because that brings me back to that trauma or whatsoever. Do I want to nourish that? No. So I let it pass. I listen to some music, I run out, whatever. I do whatever it takes to let that emotion pass and I move on. Because you become aware of that and you know that you don't want to nourish that. You don't want to have that emotion within you for a long time. So practice, train yourself to be aware. And once again, be kind to yourself because you're not going to change like that. So that's a very important thing, to be gentle with yourself and to remind yourself that you're a human and you're going to do a lot of mistakes and that's fine. The only way to learn is to leave. So go through that and just try again and again and again and again. And you'll get there.
Wow. I think today it's fair to say that you're someone that is different.
Yeah.
You would understand that. It's not always easy to be different. How do you feel well being different?
I love it so much because I'm just being me and I'm being authentic to myself. And there's no better feeling than just being yourself. Like when you're fully yourself, you can only love it because it feels good. Things that comes to you are good. People that are attracted to you are good. Opportunities that comes to you are good. So there's no world where you are yourself and you're like depressed and unhappy. I still have my struggles and my things, but to fully live who you are, to embrace that you-ness, that uniqueness, you just have to experience it to understand, I guess. But I love it. And I love to not be the version I was. Like, I'm so glad when someone tells me, Joy, you changed. Like, thanks God, I'm so happy. It couldn't be a better compliment. Because I want to change, I want to evolve. And evolution needs change. So, well, you need change too.
Would you say it's a lonely path? Did you felt lonely in this process of changing and being now different?
Yeah, definitely. I had phases where I felt not lonely, but alone. In a sense of, I felt like I was losing people on the way. I was losing kind of everything I had because that's normal. Because it's like shading. So the old version of yourself is dying. So all of what is attached to that is going to leave you as well. But by doing it a few times through time, then you see that it brings you new things and what is meant for you. So it's like a beautiful process, like a butterfly, you know, like you go from a caterpillar, ugly and stuff, and you shade into something beautiful and you keep on going and going and going. But you have to go through phases where you're alone. And I think you have to, actually, because you need to meet yourself. And the only way to meet yourself is, well, you can do it with people as well, but you have to be at some point with yourself and to be true to yourself. So not influenced by anything around you.
Joy, thank you so much for everything you said right now. It was, I think profound, and I hope people can understand, because I think it's so important.
I hope so too. But thank you for bringing so much value under the spotlight with your podcast. So thank you.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thanks.
Dear listeners, my name is Elliot. I'm an EHL student, and my goal is to share with you the stories of our alumni so that you can get inspired. Stay tuned, many episodes are coming, and see you soon.